A very good morning and welcome to K24 This Morning. My name is Jeff Mote. We're looking at the big stories of the day right here, looking at the front pages of the dailies, but also having a very pertinent conversation as far as the political stakes are concerned. The very essence of this particular report was to reduce these particular stakes so that it doesn't have a winner-take-all aspect, and from there, reduce what we've seen and just try and move past what has been divisive elections every single time this country has gone to the polls. That's a discussion we'll be having right here in studio. We'd love it when you're part of that. Welcome. My name is Jeff Mote. You can also get me on Twitter at I am Jeff Mote. Before we get there, though, and get to my panel, let's look at the front pages of our dailies this morning and see what we are waking up to. Front page of the People Daily, Kenya's best and worst governors. Kakamega County Chief Oparanya leads the pack as best performing leader, while Tana Rivers, Dado and Wajir Boss come last. You can get the entire ranking of that in your copy of your People Daily therein. You can also get the story in detail on page 4, 5 and 6 in your copy of your People Daily. Also in the People Daily, 33 teachers contract coronavirus. As of yesterday, brings a total cumulative number of infections in the country to 51,851. That's a story that you can get on page 13 of your PD. Handshake team meets Ruto allies plot fight. Leaders strategize on how best to present their case on law review debate. So this weekend, there'll be a couple of consensus-building sessions and retreats that will take place. And as far as this is concerned, next week you'll have a better picture as to how really this will move forward. Also in your copy of your People Daily, electoral body asks for 14 billion Kenya shillings to conduct the BBI referendum. That's a story that you can get on page 9 of your People Daily. And in case you haven't gotten yourself a copy, we do know, like in Nairobi right now, really chilly, really grey and raining. You don't need to leave your house. You don't even need to leave your office if you're there already. All you need to do is dial the number star 550 star 4 hash. Once again, the number is star 550 star 4 hash. Dial it and get yourself a copy of your People Daily straight to your phone. It's brought to you by the PD and Safaricom. So once again, the number that you dial, star 550 star 4 hash. Let's move it along to the front page of your Standard now. Front page of the Standard, scramble for BBI cake. Everyone for themselves, they say. It's a season of horse trading as MPs, senators, governors, trade unions and other interest groups hold meetings to push for their agenda. A search for consensus over the Building Bridges initiative gathers pace days after President and ODM leader unveiled the report. That makes it a front and center story right there. But even as you look at that, a key point of concern for the country right now is the increasing cases of infection as far as COVID-19 is concerned. Red alert as COVID cases surge. Uhuru calls for talks on this. It's decision time for leaders as coronavirus infections continue to rise across the country, with counties forced to suspend key operations and students and teachers testing positive for the virus. This is the story that you can get on pages 6, 7 and 8 of your Standard this morning. The details of that are therein. The front page of the Daily Nation now, talking about the same ranking that we saw in your copy of the People Daily. Ranked, Kenyans pick top governor. The performance of county chiefs and their popularity with the electorate can now be revealed. A new poll found that experience in office didn't count for much, even though respondents rated the overall performance of all devolved units below par. As you can see right there, according to their ranking, Wycliffe Oparanya, Kakamega governor, blazing the trail at 88.2% as far as this particular ranking is concerned, followed second by Kwale governor Salim Mvurya at 77.1, Makueni Kivutha Kibwana at 74.4, Anyang' Nyong'o 65.9, Governor Kisumu, and rounding up the top 5, we have Governor of Machakos Alfred Mutua at 65.1. You can get the details of that in your copy of your Daily Nation in detail on page 4 and 5. Also in your copy of your Daily Nation, clear school fees, ministry tells parents. The government has urged Kenyans with children in boarding schools to clear fee balances, a reversal of an order on heads not to send learners home. So even as we get this particular double speak from the ministry, very many parents grappling with which way to move, especially with an economy that has been hard hit due to COVID-19. That story is on the back page of your Daily Nation today. You can get the details right there. Finally, on the front page of the Star now, 2 dead, 12 critical as corona hits IEBC. Uhuru calls for extraordinary meeting to discuss surging COVID-19 cases in the country. This is meant to happen very soon to make sure that they can have a way to actually deal with this particular pandemic. Panic strikes Commission as Chebukati denies contracting that particular virus. That's a story that had been doing the rounds for quite a bit, and clarity to that being put forth in your copy of your Star as well. As you look at that as well, Lake Turkana rising waters render villagers homeless. Residents scramble to salvage belongings after their houses were submerged by the rising waters of Lake Turkana. You can find the details of that particular story in your copy of your Star this morning. So that is what you're waking up to as far as your dailies are concerned right across the country. Right here on the show, we're talking about the BBI and the high political stakes, which makes for Kenyan elections every 5 years. That's a discussion we're having right here on the show. Welcome aboard. This is K24 This Morning. Okay, even before I get to my panel, we also have a question of the day that we'll be posing to you, of course, as you're part of this conversation. Let's have that up on screen. What is the best way to achieve non-divisive elections? This is a pillar and a chapter as far as the BBI report is concerned. What is the best way to achieve non-divisive elections? Because really, that is the crux of the matter when you think about it. What is the best way to achieve non-divisive elections? The WhatsApp number is at the bottom of the screen. You can also get me on Twitter at I am Jeff Mote or at K24 TV. What is the best way to achieve non-divisive elections? Send us your feedback, your comments, your thoughts on this. We'll be sampling that right across the show right here. Let me get to my panel as we get into this particular discussion. In studio, joined by Gabriel Thuma, of course, he's a governance expert. He's been away for a while. Welcome back, Gabi. Good morning.
Thank you, Jeff. How are you
well.
doing? Have I been away for a while? I think it's only 1 week. Was it?
I think it's more. It's been 2 weeks.
Is it?
Yes.
Actually, could be. You could be right.
Yeah,
you could be right. But I'm good.
We note the hiatuses and we're usually wondering, okay, where is he? I hope all is well.
All has been well.
Yeah.
Reading a lot, seeing how the BBI is taking us.
Right.
I was actually in Kisumu, great city, and things are moving on in the right direction. I hope we can keep it that way.
Yes, fantastic stuff. Yes. Welcome to the show. We're also joined virtually in the conversation by Dr. Pamela Odhiambo. She's a Migori woman rep for Migori County. Good morning, Dr. Pamela.
Good morning to you.
Karibu sana. Welcome to the show.
Yeah, thank you very much. I didn't get your name and I'm only seeing the back of your head, so I don't know who I'm talking to.
Well, you can call me Jeff Mote.
Sorry?
Jeff Mote.
Jeff?
Yes.
Thank you, Jeff.
Yes, welcome to the show, of course. Even as we get straight to it right now, looking at a story that is front and center before we get to our main topic for discussion right here. Ranking of Kenya's governors and their performance and their popularity as well. Every time such surveys come out, they're usually first out to complain about how the survey was done, the methodology, the sampling size, and all of that. What's your take on this particular ranking so far?
Very same thing I was asking. I would really have wanted to know, when they do research, even though I'm not really pouring cold water on what has been said, but sometimes, you just want to know the kind of sampling, the kind of methodologies, and really the key areas or criteria that they use to grade these governors. You see, our counties have not been performing well. I know during the COVID era, I think some of them have really tried to come up with solutions, to be able to put their population in, in check. They've, working on the hospitals that they have, upgrading them. So I think there are some kudos we can give to them. But to me, the major issue is resource and accountability. Most counties have really failed. We have been seeing governors being hauled in and out of court. There has been fights within their county assemblies. There has been fights between the governors and the Senate. So the issue of accountability, I would have hoped that is what tops the agenda or the ranking. And probably most of them would perform dismally. But, having said that, I think it is a good thing to rank these people from time to time. And I would really look, and by the way, I'm going to take a lot of time to dig into it and really know. I mean, the person that, Oparanya, getting 77% or getting what he got, I think he was the one leading with 88%. How did he, what has he done to get this. He could, you know, he could actually have done great things probably he's not talking about, and many governors probably would have done the same. But we would really need to know what have they done, you know, in the sphere of things. You know, why were they ranked this high? If I go to, you know, Kakamega today, will I see things different from the way I saw them? You know, it is good to know the criteria that they used. Could be, and it can be anything. So have the lives of the people on the ground, have they been positively impacted? I think, to me, that should be the guiding principle when you're ranking governors.
Okay, let me bring Dr. Pamela in on this one. Daktari, Migori County, number 17 as far as this ranking is concerned. Okoth Obado at the helm, of course, we do know he has a court case as well in court. What's your assessment of this particular ranking from what they're saying right now?
Jeff, you will have to increase the volume of your microphones a little bit so that I can hear both of you clearly. Like, I really missed part of what my friend there, Gabriel, was saying. I think, allow me to congratulate the best performing governors and also encourage the worst performing ones to pull up their socks. I don't know, it's not really clear to me what criterion has been used to assess and then award those positions. But I think I have always been impressed by what Oparanya has tried to do in Kakamega. I think I've visited Kakamega severally, and each time I get something going on, which is nice. Especially, I was impressed by how he is attempting to make the roads of Kakamega accessible. And I think they are Maram roads, not all of them are tarmacked, but I think what he has done, which is excellent as compared to even what my own county government has done in Migori, is creating proper waterways for these roads. And so much as they always have a lot of rain, the roads in Kakamega are all weather, and I think I appreciate him for that. I appreciate him for the construction of the stadium and all that. I think by and large, I would want to say that our current governors have tried, but I would be leading with whoever is going to take the next baton from these governors to do a little better than what we have seen. I would wish that instead of trying to do everything everywhere, which is not seen, we better zero in. For example, if somebody tries to zero in maybe the first year on infrastructure, maybe the school system and industrialization and all that. Those sectors that they have in the departments, we want to see things happening. So as for now, I think let's encourage the governors to try to encourage Kenyans, because there has been an outrage of cases of misuse of public funds, or not accounted for, or the public clearly doesn't get it, like this is what we want done and we have seen it done. So I think this is what we may need to encourage, so that we encourage Kenyans. The idea of devolution was to make this country rather appear equal, so that I would wish to see Migori quickly turning into a Nairobi with proper infrastructure, roads, electricity, which is never interrupted, only when it is necessary, water. And with that, people will fall back. Quite a number of professionals will be willing to come back and invest in the counties. And with that investment comes employment for our youth and all that. So I think that would be my take. That would be my encouragement to the governors. Whatever challenges they are facing, let them create networks, let them create partnerships, even with the national government, to make the counties have what they have not been having all these years. But if we just go without making a change or a difference, then we are not appreciating the efforts that were made to devolve power and resources to mashinani.
Okay, let's talk about that as well, Dr. because part of this ranking was based on performance in, devolved responsibilities, talking about agriculture, education, health, water management, transport and trade. Let's talk about health for a while, because even as you look at the front pages of our dailies right now, there's an increasing cause for concern in terms of the rising infections as far as COVID-19 is concerned right across the country. Do you feel county governments are adequately prepared? We've heard of a couple of counties speaking about having overstretched facilities as far as their hospitals are concerned. When you speak about Migori, what's the status of Migori right now in terms of COVID-19 preparedness with what we are now calling a second wave?
I don't think what I have seen, sorry for this, I was in Migori until yesterday, and I regret that things seem to have collapsed to nothingness. In terms of the hospitals, I didn't visit any to really see what is there. But in terms of how the people are now thinking, it is like there is no more COVID. So I had to take time reminding everybody I met that we still need to at least observe the hygienic conditions. Somehow we have been lucky in Migori. We've not had very many serious cases of infection or deaths. At the onset of COVID, there were a few cases of infection and people were isolated. I know there was an isolation center made at Nyatike. And these people, most of them had got some history of coming from across the border in Tanzania. But then they all got well and were dispatched back to their villages. A few deaths came from Nairobi and they were buried in Migori. So as it were, Migori as a county has not really suffered a serious attack of COVID. But notwithstanding, I would like to encourage Migorians. And as far as that preparedness is concerned, I need to encourage my governor and encourage all the officers who are there to get ready, because even what we have already put in place, like the idea of washing hands, I remember myself and my office using GAF to elaborately provide materials like water tanks, small water tanks for washing hands in public places and in public offices. I would like to encourage this, and I want my people not to forget, because I know even if we have a few beds there, they are far from helping in case the population would be attacked, and many of us are attacked. So I don't think I want to confidently say that we are well prepared.
Okay.
No. Okay. And especially the mentality of the people. I really want us, the leaders, all of us, to work on that and make the people know that we are still dealing with a very dangerous disease. I am aware right now, I'm mourning one of my police officers, Mr. Rotich, who comes from Eldoret. Mr. Rotich was working at Awendo and as an inspector. And a couple of days ago, I got information that he is already dead in Eldoret, courtesy of COVID. So I think it is important that our people know that COVID is still around, and even the governor to do the best that he can to make sure that our people are protected and taken care of just in case they get infected.
Okay, Gabi, very quickly, even as we move on to the topic of the day.
So on some of the indices, what you notice actually, Jeff, there's the overall verdict, which actually came below par at 47%. But more than anything, it's some of the indices that they've used, like what you've just said: agriculture, roads, energy, trade, water, housing, lands and settlement docket. And I think if you are to check on some of the things that various counties have done, we will give to them. There are counties indeed where you go, you can see real transformation. This one I give to them. The issue of accountability, even though we are struggling, I think it's all counties that are struggling. So when you look at a county like Kakamega and you look at a county like Kisumu, in fact, if I was to tell you about Kisumu, because that's where I was recently, you can see change. You can see actually great change that is happening. I was able to see a new market that's coming up. I was able to see business centers that the county is working on. I was able to see new stadiums, that are coming up. So as much as we would talk about the issue of accountability and hope that it will continue being the guiding principle when when counties are going to be receiving funding, that funding can trickle all the way to the common Mwananchi, we have to accept that devolution has done something great. Okay. The inroads that are being built. When you go to Nakuru on your way, you can see the arteries, that are opening up counties, to trade. So I think it is not a bad thing, but we need to work hard. Like the woman rep is saying, we need those that have not performed well, they just need to pull up their socks. Because I feel if you do not have the pulse as a governor with the Mwananchi, there are counties that are going to be left so far behind that you'll have your population leaving your county, going to your neighboring county. So I think it is good for us to build, or for counties, and I know Oparanya is the COG, it is good for counties to come up with a way that they will somewhat, it is hard, but they can actually overlook what other counties are doing. And they can try as much as possible to come up as a region. In fact, if regional, when we talk about regional governments, if we were to look into it as governors from a particular area, coming together to uplift that region as a whole, it would make greater sense.
Okay. I want us to move it quickly along even as we get closer to our first break on the show. Talk about what we wanted to address today, which is the BBI and the high political stakes that make for every election. We have our question of the day. Let's have it up very quickly. What is the best way to achieve non-divisive elections? What is the best way to achieve non-divisive elections? Send your feedback. That's WhatsApp number right there. We have 4 minutes to go before our first break. Gabi, when we talk about this, and people have been looking at this particular document, and really the changes that are being mooted for the executive are really what is capturing both the political class and the public as well. When we have this president who can appoint and fire his PM, his DPM, his DP, is this raising the political stakes or reducing it, which was the original plan?
Do you know the issue of inclusivity at that top echelon needs, in my own view, it is something that we need to sit down and ponder a little bit. And the reason why I'm saying this, it is for us to know for sure, the question that you put up, will this be it about our divisive elections? Are the people who hold the critical top seats, when they are put up there, is that it? And from where I'm seated, I think more needs to be done, even in civic education, for people to realize much of it is not what somebody gets. Much of it is how do we keep sanity in this country after election? Because going into BBI, the background of it is to ensure that we come or stop the rhythmic violence which comes after every year. And the president at Bomas actually defined it very clearly, Jeff. And I understood, and many Kenyans should understand where the president was coming from. Because what he was saying is, no country, leave alone Kenya, no country can develop on 1 year cycles. Because 2 years before, there's almost near violence, 2 after, people are trying to stabilize themselves. So you're only left with 1, probably 1.5. If it goes far much, is only 2 years. So how do we stop that? First of all, I believe is putting structures that produce, and this may come out funny, but this is what I believe in my heart of hearts, that this can actually change. Putting infrastructure, a system, call it what you may, that can produce a loser. Produce a loser. That when you lose, somebody will say, you know what, confidently, I think, this one is not for me this time around, and I accept and I concede. A system that has produced somebody who will concede. And we have seen in great democracies, in most democracies, that is the very system that is used. In our case, that's not the thing. And you know why, Jeff? It's because of our tribal blocks. So I can understand for us to create those positions on top, which may actually water down the heat that we have every election. But will that be it? We need to look at it further to ensure that what we put in place, whether it is those positions, the PM, the deputy PMs, and it will be it. That we will not sit down and say, wow, I thought this was it, but we still have, you know, heated elections. So I hope when we sit down really to discuss this document, I will go with what the president said. Let a good idea build into a better idea. We go with that mentality, Jeff, we will create a win-win situation.
Dr. Pamela, we're getting to our first break very quickly. I want to come to you as well on this one. Is the solution to non-divisive elections, knowing that the second runner-up, as far as the presidential election is concerned, gets the opposition leader position, is that what will calm the political temperatures moving forward from where you stand?
Please come again. I'm not hearing you well.
Sorry for that. Dr. Pamela, what I'm asking is we are trying to get to how we can have non-divisive elections. If we have the second runner-up getting the official leader of opposition, is that the cure? Is that the solution to achieving these non-divisive elections that we're trying to get through the BBI?
To an extent, I think yes. You see, what we have had before is a scenario where people sit and come up with manifestos and promises of what they think they would do if they were elected president. And most of the time, what we have seen is some kind of cutthroat competition which does not take into consideration the fact that the other person or the other party which was also moving to lead is also part of the leadership and part of the country and maybe part of the constructive development agenda of the country. So by proposing that the runners-up becomes the opposition leader, I think it will make sure that the party or the person who has been elected to lead and govern the country is constantly put in check. And at the same time, the person who has lost will not really feel like they have lost because they are still part and parcel of that inclusive governance where when they are in that opposition position, then they would always want to propose and even try to correct and point out where the government is going or the president is going wrong. Okay. And so when we are talking about Kenya, I think I got a little bit of what Gabriel was saying about the component of people competing and then somebody accepts that they have lost or won, and they shake hands, they agree to work together and push on the country ahead together. This has not been the scenario because most of the time there have been many other factors apart from the tribalism and ethnicity that he's talking about. There is also the component of lack of transparency in the system of elections. And so we have had cases where insincerely somebody feels aggrieved, and much as that they're feeling aggrieved because the winning or the losing is not fair and honest, then they are to be thrown just out like that. Okay. And the other one chest thumbs and says, oh, this is my government, it is mine, it is mine. So I think what BBI is proposing, and which I support, is a scenario where even if I have lost, I've not gotten that presidency seat, but my thoughts as somebody who also who ran for the seat is considered, and so it becomes our government and not somebody's government. Okay, we want to take a short break at that particular point. Of course, when we come back after the break, we speak about that as well. I mean, Gabriel has spoken about the fact that we need to put some infrastructure in place. Someone would say, we already have that. We have electoral laws. We have the IEBC. Are they robust enough? Are they transparent enough? We discuss that, of course, after the break. And don't forget, you can get yourself a copy of your People Daily. It's only 10 shillings. The number that you dial, *550*4#. We take a short break. We're back with more.